Good morning, students. Welcome to eSuvidya. Hope you all are fine and safe. Students, in the previous class we have discussed that still in the 21st century the blind practice of branding is still prevalent in our society. We have discussed that branding is occurring in some remote regions of our state because of various reasons. The most important reasons responsible for branding are poverty, illiteracy, superstition and lack of standard health care facilities. These are the four most important reasons that are leading to branding in some regions of our state and some regions of our country. We have told the first one is poverty. The people who are living in the remote parts of the country are very poor. They are unable to satisfy their minimum requirement of life. So they are providing health care facilities to their children is still a distant dream. Next one is superstition. Superstition is in blind belief. Still among the people, the blind belief is prevalent among the people. So due to blind belief or due to such type of unscientific beliefs, the people bring their children or take their children to the quarks whenever they suffer from any disease. Next one is illiteracy. Illiteracy, we have discussed that generally those people or parents who are living in the remote areas, they are illiterate. They do not have a proper knowledge about the healthcare facilities. So due to illiteracy, so people are not aware that what type of a development has been taken place in the medical science, or what type of facilities is available to the neonatal or to the newborn babies or to the children in a very young group or to the children in the initial stage. So for this reason, due to lack of education or lack of knowledge regarding the recent developments in the healthcare field, so whenever a child suffers from any disease, the illiterate parents or the grandparents take their children to the village quarks. So these are the most important reasons that we have discussed, that due to poverty, illiteracy and also due to lack of standard health care facilities. Generally children, as you know, that in the remote parts of the country, the medical facilities that are available to the people are not sufficient, or the medical facilities is not sufficiently available to the people who are living in the remote part of the country or in the distant areas or in the local areas or rural areas. So whenever their children fall to any disease, so they are unable as the medical facilities are not available in the locality or in the nearby area, and also at the same time they cannot afford the cost of expensive medical facilities. So sometimes they take their children to the village quarks. So whenever they take their children to the village quark, or whenever a child suffers from any type of a disease like fever or a diarrhea, generally the illiterate parents or grandparents take their children to the village quark. So in the name of a treatment, the village quark put hot iron rods on the stomach of the babies. You imagine a child or a newborn baby, whenever someone is putting hot iron rods on the stomach of the baby, what type of a suffering he or she would be going through. So it is a very inhuman practice, and you can imagine that what type of a pain the child may be bearing. It is a very wrong practice, a very brutal practice, and such type of a practice is still prevalent in some regions of our country. So it is a matter of a deep pity, or it is a matter of a pity, it is a matter of a sorrow that despite the development in the medical science, still in some regions of our country, such type of a blind practice is prevalent. You imagine whenever a quack a person who is not qualified to treat the child put the hot iron rod 20 times, 30 times on the stomach of the baby, what type of a suffering the child may be going through. So you can imagine that what type of a pain the child may be suffering, and the child succumb to his injuries or dies due to this injury. So such type of things are still prevalent in the society. So as a student, children, most of you have come from the remote areas, tribal areas, so you must have access to your people. So if you found such type of things is happening in your society, you have to play a very significant role. You have to motivate your people that don't take your child to the quarks or to the disari. Take them to the qualified doctors, those persons who are trained, those persons who are certified. So take them to the qualified doctors so that they will cure the baby. And if you are taking the baby, if the illiterate parents, if your neighbors are taking the baby to the quarks, then automatically there is the maximum possibility of a death of the child. In maximum cases, the child will die. And you can imagine what type of a suffering the child would be suffering whenever the hot iron rods are put into the stomach of the babies. So students, we have discussed the sense group paragraph 1 in the previous class. Let's have a look at the second part of the sense group paragraph 1. What can we do to check such blind practices? You are studying in schools, you know, if we suffer from diseases, we should go to the qualified doctor, not to an illiterate disari or a village quack. As you are educated, you have a role to play in this regard. Tell the people not to go to the disari or a village quack. Ask them to go to the hospital for treatment. Talk to your classmates. Form a group to fight against the bad and blind practices of branding in and around your village and locality. So students, you have to play a very significant role. You have to become the brand ambassador against branding. Students, I have already told you about the youngest person to get the Nobel Peace Prize. As you know, Malala Yousafzai of Pakistan became the youngest person to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Actually, Malala Yousafzai, the region where she was living, are ruled by or dominated by the Talibanis. So the Talibanis never allowed the children or the women or the girl child to go to the schools. So Malala Yousafzai played a very significant role in motivating the children to go to the school. And now the Talibanists shot Malala Yousafzai on her head, but she was taken to England where her life was saved, and she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize along with Kailash Satyarthi of India for Bachpan Bachao Andolan. And she became the brand ambassador of education all over the world. So those children who are deprived of education, then she motivated the girl child to how to get education. And in some Islamic countries, generally the girls are not allowed to go for education. So Malala Yousafzai became the brand ambassador to motivate the children or motivate their parents to send their children to the schools. So here students, you have to play a very important role. You have to play a very important role. Here you have to work just like a brand ambassador. Whenever you are visiting to your villages, you can find still in this century such type of blind practices are prevalent. So when you see any person in your locality is taking their children or sending their children to the disari or the village quack, you ask them or you request them, you motivate them not to send their children to the village quacks or disaris. You request them, you motivate them to send their children to the nearby hospital. You request them, motivate them to send their children to the qualified doctors so that their life can be saved. So in your class, you may form a group. After forming the group, you may visit your locality during your holidays, and you have to play a very important role in motivating your people how to avoid such type of false doctors or such type of false doctors who are neglecting the children or whose treatment lead to the death of the child. So you have to play a very important role in this matter. You form a group, you motivate the people of your locality. Students, in the previous chapter you have studied that Birsa Munda played a very important role in motivating the people of his locality to avoid superstition or to avoid blind belief, and his movement become a mass movement in his locality, and people started believing Birsa Munda, and people started fighting against the superstitions in their locality. So students, now you have to play a very significant role in abolishing such an inhuman practice of branding in your locality, and you have to play very important role that how such inhuman practice will be abolished from our country. So students, let us have a look at some new words from this portion. Qualified. Qualified means officially recognized as being trained to perform a particular job or certified. So qualified means officially recognized as being trained to perform a particular job or certified. Let's use it in a meaningful sentence. He is qualified. He is qualified as a doctor. Then the next sentence, let's use it into another meaningful sentence. There is an urgent need for qualified teachers. Qualified teachers. So here qualified means trained or certified. So we have used it into meaningful sentences. He is qualified as a doctor. There is an urgent need for qualified teachers. Then the last word is locality. Locality means an area nearby. Last word is locality. Locality means an area nearby. An area nearby. So let's use it into meaningful sentence. Example, there is no airport in this locality, or there is no airport in the locality. There is no airport in the locality. Let's use it into another sentence, another meaningful sentence. Public transport is a big problem in this locality. So students, today we have discussed the sense group paragraph 1 and today we have completed this chapter. You go through the chapter thoroughly and try to answer the comprehension questions. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next class.